Hello and welcome back to my latest local business spotlight. Today I'm over at Vintage Metals in Bream and I'm joined by Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick Webb, and I'm the UK sales manager at Vintage Metals.
And Nick is going to tell you a little bit about Vintage Metals, what they do and the services that they offer.
Here at Vintage Metals we are selling custom scooters, original scooters, custom furniture and apparel, and we've also got scooter accessories as well.
And what drew you personally to vintage scooters?
I mean, I've been into vintage scooters since I was 15. I bought my first one when I was 15, ready for my 16th birthday. And I've never not had a vintage scooter, if you like. I've had a career in a very different sector, and I kind of semi-retired a couple of years ago. And this opportunity came along, which I just, grabbed. Absolutely, it's a dream job for me.
Amazing. No, and I can feel that passion from you. Where this doesn't feel like a job to you, does it?
Not really. No. It definitely doesn't feel like you're going to work. Put it that way.
So Nick, do you also restore the scooters here before selling them on?
Yeah. So essentially, we have a number of locations around the world that do our restorations for us, but essentially they are our partners. It's been 10 years in the making, and they are Vintage Metals staff, essentially.
So what you're saying is these technicians exclusively work for Vintage Metals?
Absolutely, they're exclusive to us. They don't work for anybody else. I think the formula that we've developed and the results that you can see here show that it's really working. No,
I completely agree. You can tell that Vintage Metals have a real commitment to excellence. It really is amazing. What would you say the biggest challenges or difficulties are when restoring a vintage scooter?
It's a long process doing a vintage scooter. Essentially, you've got to start off with the best scooters you can find to begin with. Then they're all checked on the jigs to make sure the frames are all straight, etc. It's just a process that obviously has to go through, but it's all about quality. It has to be the best quality restorations because people are, understandably very demanding when it comes to the finish and the quality of the restorations. And we're aiming to be the best in the business, frankly.
Latching on to your point about having the best scooters to restore, how do you go about sourcing these scooters?
Yeah, so we've got scouts essentially in locations looking for the best scooters, and obviously we work with them to select the right scooters so that we're starting off with the best scooters we can before they go into the restoration process, essentially.
What advice would you give somebody that was purchasing their first classic scooter?
Well, if you're buying your first classic scooter, you really need to understand how the scooter works, if you like, and because things were different back then in terms of when these scooters were made. So things like how to operate the scooter, the gears and the clutch are on the headset, on the handlebars, if you like. The fact that you have to mix the oil with the fuel. So there's many aspects. So I would recommend actually to come on one of our courses, to be honest. We're doing a couple of courses. So essentially for somebody who's literally a complete beginner or novice, if you like, then they can come on one of our courses and learn all the basic stuff that you kind of really need to know / should know before taking out your first classic scooter.
Well, that's super helpful. Are they held here in Bream?
Yeah, they are. They're held here in Bream, all local. We've got a couple of presenters, essentially Lambretta and Vespa gurus, and with decades and decades and decades of experience. So I think they're going to be really exciting and great fun. Yeah,
I think that they're going to land very positively. Would you say there are any scooters or makes, models, etc. that are particularly sought after at the moment?
There's always been particular models of Vespas and Lambrettas that are really sought after. The obvious one, I think, in the Lambretta world would be the SX200, the TV200, TV175s, those type of scooters, the GP200 as well. Yeah, so some of those scooters are commanding real good money, strong money these days. On the Vespa side, again, some very sought after scooters like the Rally 200, the SS90, which is probably the holy grail.
Would you say that's what makes them sought after then, the rarity?
Rarity is definitely, for sure, an aspect. They were never made in massive numbers to begin with, and obviously certain models become, almost impossible to lay your hands on, really, certainly at a realistic price anyway.
How is the scooter market currently?
Well, certainly from our perspective, we're finding it to be, really quite strong. I mean, we've now been open roughly 3 months. The majority of scooters that we got in stock are actually being sold, and waiting preparation to go out. It seems quite buoyant from our point of view. For example, if I just cover the GPs that we sell, GP 150s with 175 top end, they're on sale for 5,500 and obviously fully restored. So I think in terms of pricing, extremely competitive. And I think that the demand that we're seeing shows that I think we've got the pricing at the right price point.
No, I completely agree, and I think to achieve what you have in such a short space of time shows a real commanding presence, not just in the Forest of Dean area, but nationally also.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, no, we think so too. Yeah, no, totally agree.
So Nick, how can people learn more about Vintage Metals or get in touch if they're interested in your services?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. They can get in touch through, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can call me directly on 07738 230 840, or even through our website, www.vintagemetals.co.uk.
And now I'm lucky enough to be joined by James, who's one of the founders here at Vintage Metals. How are you, James?
Good morning, nice to be here.
Now, James is going to tell us a little bit about the unique furniture here at Vintage Metals. And when I say unique, I mean unique. And it's probably borderline art rather than furniture. Do you want to tell us a bit about it, James, and how it came about?
Well, I think it's probably important to stress that the vision of Vintage Metals, which has come to fruition only in the last few months, has been ongoing for a number of years. So everything you see here, and you'll likely see here throughout this video, of furniture and the scooters and some of the design aesthetic, has been a number of years in the making. So this is now the focal point of all that design effort. And the furniture specifically, it's all designed in-house. All the graphics are designed in-house. We have a graphic design team. And when we came up with the concept of scooter-derived furniture, we had quite an audacious plan of what we wanted to bring to life. And it was all about quality, whilst retaining the general design aesthetic that scooter lovers like from the Lambretta and Vespa world. But we also wanted to cross over into that functional art piece, and that's one of the key things that Vintage Metals is functional art. And as you'll see throughout the showroom, it is set up much like an art gallery because we believe our furniture is functional art. It includes some of the, it dovetails in some of the classic bikes you see around, which are custom. So we've got a number of different products. Our kind of flagship model is the Bardo, which are two colorways of coffee tables or functional tables, which feature some fantastic engraved designs throughout the overall bike. And you'll notice that's a key thing at Vintage Metals. We love engraved. We love the attention to detail with engraved parts, and we offer kits for people to actually deploy that onto their own scooters if you like. But the Bardos specifically are unique. There's nothing else like this in the world, so it's a real original value proposition. And to bring this to life, and the way we've mounted the glass, the LED arrays, the custom engraving throughout the bike, and the real attention to detail. You really have to see this to believe it. So we're delighted that our overall design vision has been brought to life with the Bardos and our two colorways. That's not to say that we're not going to have different colorways in the future, of course, because we do have quite a strong pipeline of designs around furniture and the functional art generally to bring to life over the next sort of coming months. Moving on to the rockers, which are our classic take on the music, the rockers world that we've brought to life in our rocking chairs, which are hand-stitched leather, engraved parts, super solid, which takes the front of a Vespa scooter. And we've got our custom art, which is a his and hers design. And that's another important facet you'll see throughout our design aesthetics. You've got a male and female counterpart of design, and the rockers is no exception to that. So we have a his and a hers, taking design pieces from the classic 60s London Soho vibe, but taking a much more modern spin whilst retaining that classic Vespa vibe. And then we've got things like the Soho little occasional tables, which take a front of a mudguard and some really classic 50s pinstriping. Of course, we've got our I mustn't forget is our Monroe lamps, which are the desk lamps, which take our VBB Vespa head, and we've created a movable, very, very sexy desk lamp, and it was so sexy we had to give it the sexiest name in the world, aka the Monroe. So yeah, we're very, very happy with the way these products have been brought out and they're brought to life, and we're delighted to be here in Bream. In fact, one of the key things that people ask us is why Bream? Well, it's a beautiful part of the world, and what we're doing is so unique. It doesn't need to be anywhere in specific. It could be literally anywhere on the planet. And in fact, that's the kind of attention that we're getting at the moment. So we're really happy about that.
I popped in for the first time not so long ago, and I was blown away, not just by the level of detail, but by the enthusiasm of Nick and the whole ethos of vintage metal. As we were entering the showroom today, I saw a mat on the floor with various tools on it. Wasn't quite sure what it was. Can you tell us a bit more about it, please?
Well, you've just had your first taste of the Omni mat. So that is a quirky but really interesting and useful product. Actually, it's something that has been again on the back burner for a while. So in its purest form, it's a fabric mat that has a cord all the way around it and knee pads. And the concept of it is for those mechanics changing a wheel, or you're out there, in the rain and you need to do something, or you're working outside. And the whole point of that is you've got your tools and things you've got going on the floor. And if you need to get up and out because you're getting rained on, or I don't know, you just need to go, you can just pick up the cord. The whole thing deploys into like a parachute over your shoulder, and off you go. We've got a patent on that, and it's a really useful bit of kit. We've sold a whole bunch, and people love them. Super
inventive, and yet another unique product.
That's us, functional art, and the innovation is absolutely a forefront of us and this company and our mission really of where we want to go to. So look out for more of this in the future.
One question I would like to ask you is, what's the plan for the future in regards to the furniture? Am I right in saying that it's not available through any third-party retailers at the moment, and it is exclusive to Vintage Metals?
That's exactly right. So we've got a fairly robust business plan of our trajectory of how we want to bring this to life, and our more international expansion plans. But you're spot on. At the moment, it's only available through Vintage Metals. We are in discussions with third parties that are very, very interested in our overall designs and aesthetic, which is fantastic for us because it's extra validation of people liking our functional art. So it might be that we partner with third parties, but that's all very early days at the moment. But right now, it is only available through Vintage Metals, through either our showroom here in the UK or on our website, where I encourage you to have a look.
Amazing. And going back to your point about being here in Bream, I'm very passionate about local businesses. What are your thoughts on local business in this particular area? And was it just the location that made you choose Bream?
Yes, I've always been a lover of the Forest of Dean specifically. When we were looking for a particular physical premises, and we had a number of different options, ranging from, well, we must be in London or a major urban area, all the way to, well, does it need to be in the UK? And when this particular facility came up, we came here and we just fell in love with the place straight away. It fitted what we wanted to do with the overall presentation of Vintage Metals. It just so happened to be in a fantastic part of the world, and I'm actually a big believer in sustainable and pushing local businesses forward. And I think this area specifically, outside of Bristol and north of Chepstow, and just how much attraction the Royal Forest of Dean has, I think this is actually a perfect location to capture those people that want to travel, to have a really nice day, weekend, or a holiday out. The scooter clubs love it. It's fantastic riding. And when we do get our national, international customers, this is the perfect place to come. So I'm a real big believer in local business.
That's great to hear. And do you have any plans for future events here at the premises? Because I think I saw on social media you had one fairly recently.
Yes, it was only a couple of weeks ago, which was our first, we called it Brunch with Vintage Metals, which is sort of tongue-in-cheek. But it was extremely well attended, and we were somewhat humbled with just how much local love we got, really, from all the different clubs, the local businesses and local clientele. And it was an absolutely fantastic event. We had a raffle, and we raised a load of money for charity, which we were delighted about. And that really paved the way for us going, well, we probably want to make this a regular thing. So the answer is yes. The next one is in the planning stage. And once we get a release date for that, it will be propagated out on our website and Facebook and all the social media channels.
Fantastic. And I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time to spend with us today and answer a few questions.
You are most welcome. It's nice to meet you.